Western Industries is a global manufacturer of packaging. We're a solution seller and provider of products made of wood, paper, foam, and plastics. So Susanna, hit it. It's about growing sales, and anybody who's in sales, which I guess we're all in sales in some way, you know that when you go in to talk to somebody, you have to kind of change your message and your persona a little bit to engage with them better. So a good example that we use internally is, if you're going to Fort Worth, Texas, you wear cowboy boots and you wear jeans. If you're going in to talk with aerospace clients up, in Washington, generally they're much more formal, and the conversation is much more structured. So, anybody who's in sales knows that you have to tailor your message depending on the target audience, and this is really just doing that in a digital space. And so, as sales has moved more digital over the last couple of years, I'm sad we didn't do this sooner. We've been international for over 20 years at this point, specifically talking about our Mexico branch for this presentation, and we have not supported them in the manner that I think that we should have, with regionalizing that message to specifically resonate with the demographic that's down in Mexico down there. So obviously they speak Spanish in Mexico, and so us having an English-only website is a problem, especially now as companies are moving more sales digital, and their website and social media pages are the top of the sales funnel for generating leads for the sales team. Being able to capture attention and drive traffic to your salespeople to physically sell your product, if you're not able to sell through an e-commerce type site, if you're more like us, where you have to have a conversation and you have to understand the problem and bring value through that. If you don't capture that attention and they don't reach out to you, then you're missing out on opportunities because they're reaching out to somebody else. It's not that people aren't finding clients online, it's just they're not finding you or not finding us because we haven't provided a compelling message and we don't get in front of those eyeballs to drive them to the salespeople. So it's become increasingly important. And for those companies that are considering, nearshoring back into the Mexico market or into Canada from certain Asian markets, now is a really important time to consider expansion into those markets because there's significant growth that's coming on the manufacturing side. So this, we're not done with our regionalization of the website, but certainly the logic behind it makes total sense. And why we haven't done this sooner, I'm not sure. It wasn't until Jesse brought this to us with the STEP grant that it's like, oh, this is a really important thing that you should be doing anyway, and we'll help you pay for it. It's like, okay, that's great. This is wonderful.
Brendan, if I can interrupt it, because there's a question that's just actually come in with regards to that, just asking, how hard was it to get the STEP grant for you, and was it burdensome?
Well, the process wasn't burdensome. It is forms, right? So, you have to answer all the questions. It's kind of a little bit like sales to the, Department of Commerce. You have to provide the rationale for why them giving this money to you versus another company is going to be a good return on the state's investment. So if you've got good international prospects, but you need some assistance on executing on that, or you just don't know how to physically execute on that, that's where it's going to be really valuable for you. If you don't have intentions to grow internationally, or you've never thought about it, maybe now is not the best time to apply for it, because you really need to have some strategy behind why you want those funds and why it's going to be good for your company. Because it still requires you to put some money in, right? It's not totally free. So if you're going to go to a trade show just because you're going to get a couple $1,000s to cover most of the cost, and there's really not a good reason why you're going to do that, or to build this international website, I would suggest that you don't do that until you're ready and at least have some reason why you're going to do it. But the process itself was not cumbersome. You fill out a form, they ask some questions, they may require some additional documentation, but none of the information that was required was anything that you shouldn't already have readily available access to just in your standard course of doing business.
Brendan, I'm sorry to hop around here. Oh, sorry, Jesse, you go ahead.
Yes, I do want to add something to that. So the time that's taking for us to review, and from the time we receive an application, reviewing and letting companies know if they've been approved or not, is approximately 2 to 3 weeks, just for your information.
That sounds very fast. Well done. Brendan, there's a slightly different sort of question. If I could just ask another question out of the blue for you. How much burden was it on management? And I think that was not so much the funds, but how burdensome is it? How much of a pain is it for management for the websites? How much management time is consumed by these websites?
I would have to answer that it depends, depending on your company structure. And if you have a person that's in charge of marketing currently, or you have an executive at least that has some interest, at least knows what the marketing vision is, IBT handles most of the heavy lifting for you. And they kind of pose questions to you like, hey, what's really your goal on this area of your website? How do you drive consumers currently? What does that interaction look like? And then they provide examples too. It's like, well, this is what we've seen from other clients that we've worked with that are similar industrial manufacturers, for example. This is something maybe you should consider, and they kind of give you some options and you get to make the choice. In terms of, us having to present a ton of information, we haven't had to have a significant investment in our team to provide information back to IBT. If you have an existing website and some social media for your domestic market, they kind of use that as a template to get the idea of what you want your brand to be. And there's kind of a discovery call on the front end that kind of refines that a little bit, like what's really the value of your company? And how do we then communicate that value in something that is going to resonate with the local market?
Okay, I just wanted also to show people a little bit also some of the pages from your website and the materials, and how sophisticated some of them get, and then also just to highlight some of the geographic areas that you were in. And I guess, Brendan, a little concern or one of the things that we all want to talk about as well is the future. Where do you think Western Industries Corporation, WIC, will be in 5 years? And what's the vision?
A lot of our growth organically has come from identifying where existing customers have other facilities that we can bring value to. And then as soon as we can get a critical mass of revenue to support a new manufacturing location, then we open a new manufacturing location. We've been in Reynosa, Mexico for over 20 years now, and that branch is just absolutely exploding. Their growth has been significant to literally within last year with COVID, they carried the entire company to profitability. So certainly if you've been ignoring international markets, you should really consider that.
And Brendan, just finally, what role will online tools like websites play in the next 5 years for you?
I mean, that's become a hot topic with our salespeople. Every time that we talk to them, it's becoming increasingly difficult to get in front of people. So digital selling has exploded this year, and I don't think it's going to go back anytime soon. I mean, a lot of the surveys that we're seeing from the big consulting firms like McKinsey and Bain and companies like that, most buyers are comfortable with digital negotiation now, and they even prefer it because it's faster and they can kind of control some of the messaging. So, I think that having a website that drives traffic, if you're a solution selling company or a service company that drives people to contacting your salespeople, I mean, that's critical for driving top of the sales funnel leads. And it's going to continue to be increasingly important. I mean, I don't know anybody who doesn't turn to the internet if they have a problem that they're trying to solve. It's like, I need to find somebody that makes product X. I go to Google and I search product X in Oklahoma City, wherever I'm located. And they look at the first page of results and they find somebody and they call them. Like that's generally the way it works. For industrial products, maybe they're using LinkedIn, maybe they're using ThomasNet. There's a couple of other tools, but all of them are digital tools. They're not turning to the phone book or driving down the street looking for companies that provide those products locally. They're using the internet. And so if you're not there and you don't show up on the first page of results, or you're not engaging with people on LinkedIn, or you're not on ThomasNet, on these places that your particular customer set is looking for clients, then you're missing out on those opportunities. So, I mean, yes, it's already extremely important, and it's just going to get more important as things continue to stay digital and continue to get more comfortable at different, not only buyers, but different areas of our business are probably going to be digitized as well, just because of people have gone remote now, and they're probably not going to come back into the offices. So now, you have to build your whole business. Your customer service has to connect with sales digitally. Engineering has to connect with production digitally in some instances. So, I mean, the whole model is changing, and you have to be flexible enough to build your business around that. But the website and the social media, and having at least a digital presence for your business from a sales perspective, like, it's absolutely critical. And if you don't do it, you will not be in business in 5 or 10 years. Like, there's no way around it, right? I mean, it's already there.